Hey scrapbookers, it's Katie. So I'm going to come to you from a different angle today, and there's a reason. So, hello. Hi, I'm Katie Scott. I'm a scrapbooker. I think I need to go like this just a little bit, so I'm going to do that in just a sec. But I'm just trying out a different camera angle. I do real-time scrapbook process videos, so I go in with no plan and just talk to you through the whole process, and usually I have it so that you can see what I'm doing, and I think this camera setup will allow you to see what I'm doing enough. But if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome. But also, I don't, it's not so much, I talk a little bit about scrapbook technique and show you what I'm doing, but I really want you to think of me as your virtual crop buddy. So I'm more like, sometimes I'll talk about what I'm up to, sometimes I'll talk about what I'm making, and sometimes I'll just go off on random tangents, like, you know, the lady next to you at the crop. So the good thing is that we all have our own space, and I just like to listen to chatter as I do my scrapbooking. So sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. So think of this as like a podcast with visuals. So yeah, and so if I don't have something to listen to, then I like to talk myself. So hold on, I'm just going to change the angle just a little bit. Okay, I'm back. And this won't be perfect, but it is, yeah, it's, I guess I should show you what I've been up to. So this is where I put my, like, currently done layouts, and I should probably get a little closer to show you. And there's one that I did for a creative team that I won't show you, but I'll just show you the rest of them. So I'll just set that one aside, and you can just trust me that there's a layout on the back of that. And then I'm up to 42 layouts in Calvinball, and I haven't been posting them. And Calvinball is like a scrapbooking competition that's taking place over at Get It Scrapped. So go to getitscrapped.com and you can see all the glory, the Calvinball glory, and you can join in, even if it's, you know, if you're not joining us right away, just go over and see it anyways. But this is, so I've made 42 layouts in the last 16 days, and I haven't scrapbooked today, so really like the last 15 days. This is one where and so I'm just going to do a little layout share with you, and then I'll get to scrapbooking, because I'm kind of raring to go. I just did a little post on the message board, like, I'm ready, I have all my, you know, wifely, motherly duties done, and I'm ready to scrapbook. But I did want to share this with you first. So, this is a story. So the story is about, my son is now 13. In these pictures he was about 6, and he used to like make art and like post it on my door. And look at his happy little face. He was so happy about it. And then he really, you know, in school they really didn't do a lot of art, and I really felt like he lost his joy for it. And so I've been homeschooling him, and the joy is back. Yes, that's a good thing. So it says, you love art, you are an artist, you have art in your blood, and we do have a lot of artists in our family. How did we ever forget this? After only a few weeks in homeschool, you went from a 7th grader doing stick figures to a true artist, or I should say that you rediscovered your love and natural ability for art. You have a true talent. Use it. Love, Mom. And then at the bottom I just wrote photos. I'm guessing these were about 6 years old in the 1st grade. So it's clear that I'm making the page now about something that happened a while ago, and I'm using my current perspective. I know that a lot of times people have questions about that. So I think it's fine to do that. Here's another page about his first Christmas, and this was what I called a half-baked page. So I sort of had these pictures like grouped together on the cardstock, but there was no embellishment. So I did the embellishment, and I'm calling it done. There's not a lot of journaling there. I did, you know, it's just like the portrait studio his his first Christmas, and I could write about it, but I probably should put a little bit of journaling, like in strips. I'll leave this out, so maybe I'll do that before I put it away. And this is a layout that I started during the live crop at Get It Scrapped, and then I just finished it last night. And so the journaling just says, it snowed big flakes and lots on our last night in New Hampshire, and it really did. It was so pretty, and the town where we were, so that's how much snow accumulated on my car while we were in the restaurant. And so we live in Florida, so we're thrilled with snow. Because I grew up north. So, and my kids don't get to see snow except once a year. So the snow is just coming down, and there's actually like a professional photographer out there that night taking pictures. So I actually took a picture of him, and then all the pictures aren't here, but it was a really, really pretty night. Those photos don't do it justice. Okay, the next one is, and I mix up 12 by 12 with 8.5 by 11. This one is called Miss Katie, or She's Back. And so we have this friend, Miss Katie, who was the children's music teacher when they were little. And then she went away, and she was an entertainer on cruise ships for a long time. And now she's back. And so this was the night that she saw the kids for the first time after I don't know, a lot of years, but and I want you to see, this photo isn't even all that good. It was low light, and she was moving around because she's a high energy person, and she was just kissing the kids, and they're like, Mac looks so happy to see her. So that just was we're just really happy that she's back. So, and she's been playing music with my husband. This one is another one from our recent vacation. I know you're getting some glare. Sorry about that. I don't know what to do about that. Actually, I do. Hold on. I think I do. Did that help? No, it did not. Oh well. You'll just have to live with the glare. Or turn me off and find something else. Sorry. So these videos are not edited. They're not professional. They're just here I am, and here's what this is. So this was I just really wanted to show how pretty, the fresh fallen snow on the trees, and then just the whole, when I ski, I really do a lot of stopping and admiring the scenery, which drives my kids crazy because they're like, you're so slow. But this one, so we inevitably will get separated, and they stick together, so it's fine, and they're good skiers. But this was one of the times where we were separated, and I stopped at the little, was a little restaurant at the top of the mountain, and I was just admiring everything, and that's what I could see, and there's icicles, and so it was just oh, I'm happy to be alive kind of a day. So my journaling says, part of what I love very much about a ski vacation is the sense of accomplishment, my tired muscles, and the cold beauty, and taking a moment to breathe it all in. And so, yeah, because it's not easy to get to the top of the mountain. We have to fly from Florida. We have to, get a car. We have to get the kid. There's a whole process to me getting to, go have a beer at the top of the mountain. It's a whole major accomplishment. Yeah. And so here's another one about our ski vacation. And this one is one where the kids are tired of me taking pictures, so they're making goofy faces in each picture, and yeah, and so I find that kind of annoying because it is a lot of work, So I even put little unhappy faces at the top. That was from a Christmas line. It was naughty or nice. So there you go. But this one says charming, and I've used Polaroid, frames and that sort of thing to kind of indicate that I've taken a lot of pictures. This is just a little sampling of all the pictures. Charming, not actually. I know I can be a bit snap happy, and that you two are preteens and maybe a bit self-conscious, but all I really want is a few nice pictures. Not actually. I want a few gazillion nice pictures. So that was like a, you know, if you're going to make those faces, I'm going to put them on scrapbook pages and then, you know, show them to your future husbands and wives. There you go. This one is, so I'm from the East. I'm from Maine and Massachusetts. And we went skiing just recently in New Hampshire. And so it was a wonderful trip. And it was the snowiest winter ever. But the last 2 years, we try to go to a different, place every year. So we're trying to see all 50 states. But yeah, so the last 2 years we went to Colorado and Utah. And I have to admit, the snow out west is best. It's, so is that what I said? Yeah, the snow out west. Yeah, the snow out west is superior. I hate to say, but it is. It is. Even with the snowiest winter ever here in New England, where we went, we still had some icy conditions where out west you just don't have those at all. So that was just these are pictures from our trip to Utah. And this snow, like the way that it looks, I had just never really seen snow that looked like tiny, they looked like Barbie made snowballs. And that's how it was falling out of the sky. It was crazy. Hold on, I'm gonna pause. Alright, so back. This one I made during the live crop, and I think I used, so I had these photos all printed like that, and I sort of just wanted to leave them like that. And I started to put together the page, and I think Celeste Smith was like, oh, that's going to be that's a rough one. You know? Like, I didn't think she thought I could pull this layout off. And then I pulled out these ancient little circles from American Crafts, and she was like, oh, those are old. And so I added some Jenny Bolin paper, and then I took these really also like 10-year-old stickers, and I started down here, but then I thought it would be fun to kind of like cut it off so it would be difficult to read. And so then I put the bottoms of the letters at the top, because this is like a repeating routine. Like if we go to Target, this happens. He doesn't actually do all the flips. I just did that like in my, you know, it's just the way I printed them. He was actually like, see, he's just standing right side up. But I thought it looked pretty funny to do them all different like that. But yeah, that's the routine. So it just says, and I wrote it on, so I just used notebook paper like I would make a shopping list. And I said, school shopping, Christmas shopping. If we go to Target, Mac will do this. So that's the journaling there. So that's his Target routine. I also did this during the live crop. That was just this Saturday. So Get It Scrapped usually has a crop once a month that's a live crop that you don't have to belong to participate in. It's free and it's fun, and I got a lot of layouts done that day. I think I got about 10 done. Yeah, so this year he was gonna sleep under the Christmas tree so he could, you know, catch Santa. And yeah, and so the words say Santa only comes if you are asleep. So so Santa came, he fell asleep. And then this one I also made during the crop. This one is called An Ongoing Correspondence, and it's just about, you know, the annual, when you put out the cookies and you write the letter to Santa. So I had a lot of Christmas pictures and Christmas stuff out, and so I just got on a Christmas kick. So this just says, Mac takes the letter to Santa pretty seriously. This year he was in charge of the cookies, carrots, and milk. And so usually it's something my kids would do together, but this year my daughter was like, oh, I'm kind of over that. But he's not over it, not by a long shot. Yeah, he's still, you know, total believer. So next up is another Christmas layout. Oh, yeah, I'm good on time. This one is about, you know, after Christmas when you have to put away everything. And these are some more, you know, poor lighting photos. They were taken in that same room where I took the pictures of Miss Katie. So they're not awesome pictures, but they're pretty funny because my son does this. like hiding in boxes routine, which, he's been doing that since he was a little guy. And there's not, now that he's big, it's much more of a challenge to get into things like he used to. Like, he used to have more hiding opportunities or places, so he was pretty thrilled when we brought home the great big plastic bins that we keep all the Christmas stuff in. So I used this, messy ornament kind of paper, and I think this was the one where, while I was working on it, I was like kept how to put it together, and then this was the one that Celeste Smith actually walked me through, and she was like, put that there, put this there, boom, you're done. And so that was a lot of fun. The journaling is, we brought home a bunch of bins from the office to pack up all of the holiday decorations, and Mac took the opportunity to do one of his favorite tricks, contort himself into a box. My little Houdini. Yep, and so the title is Christmas All Wrapped Up, 2014. And so, like, this little ornament, yeah, I was here, I was like, where should I put it? And you know what? Like, in the end, it doesn't matter that much, does it? It really doesn't. It came out good. But I really liked that whole process of having Celeste walk me through the layout. I was like, we should do that more often. Here's another one. This one, okay, so this paper is ancient in terms of scrapbooking. It was by, remember PDQ? It was like pretty darn quick, and they would actually like, these aren't, like, I didn't make those layers. That's just part of the page. And so I did add some things, but some of the layers are already there. You know what I mean? So that one went together pretty quickly. And this was so the subject of this page I kind of got from the live crop. So they were talking about, like, a lot of us have boys who are preteens, and talking about whether they kiss us or not. And I said, he gives the best hugs, but he hasn't given me a kiss since he was 3 years old. So much to my dismay, my snuggly, lovey son, who I know loves me so much because he often repeats, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you a million times before bed. And anytime I need a hug, he gives the absolute sweetest, bestest hug ever. But kisses? Nope, no way. I blame Evan, this kid in his preschool class, who made out with Emily, and I won't say her last name either, in the playhouse in Aqueduct when they were 3 years old. And then Evan told Mac that kissing your mom just isn't cool. I cursed that kid. and so this isn't even a necessarily current picture. I think this picture is a couple years old, but it's really that, like, it's been 10 years since he's kissed me, and now he's 13. So the picture isn't from this year, but the journaling is. So when it happens like that, I usually will date my journaling, but I don't always put the date of the photo. Like, I didn't here, and I don't think it's all that important. I mean, we don't look that much different than we did in this picture. So, what else? Okay, here's another one. So I did a webinar with Get It Scrapped, or Masterful Scrapbook Design, today about heritage scrapbooking and, scrapbooking your family story and using genealogy. So where we went in New Hampshire is so funny, because I really went up there. Like, I knew I was going to go up there, but I didn't plan for it, and we really, I booked the tickets 2 days before we left. And when I got there, I stayed with Debbie Hodge, and she was like, well, where are you going to ski? And I was like, I don't know. I know there's a lot of mountains up here, so I really went up without a plan. And when, and I didn't really know that much about any of the mountains up there, because I had grown up skiing in Maine. But while we were there, so I decided on North Conway. That's where we go. Which, we could have gone there, and there was 2 other places that were kind of hubs where we could have gone. So I didn't. It wasn't a given that I would end up there. But while we were there, I'm like, my grandparents used to ski in New Hampshire. I wonder if they went here. And then when I got back, I asked my aunt, and she was like, oh, they totally, that's where we went, North Conway, Cranmore Mountain. And that's where we skied, practically the whole time. So one of the things I love to do in my family history scrapbooking is connect, you know, through the generations, especially through place, because I really feel like sometimes I'm just drawn to certain places because they're places where my, you know, people were. And so you have a lot of stories about that, actually. A lot. I could write a book. But rather than going into all of that at this time, I'll just show you this. So these are pictures from our vacation, and then this is an old picture from the 1930s. So I did put the dates here. So I put 2015 on that picture, and then this I know is the 1930s, and those are my grandfather's initials. But this one says, I knew that my grandparents went skiing in New Hampshire when they were young, but I didn't know exactly where. While we were in North Conway, I thought maybe it could have been there, and when I got back, Aunt Carrie confirmed it. So yeah, totally, like, same place. So in this one, I wanted to show that there we are, even though we're small, but I kind of wanted to show, like, these are the mountains, the same mountains, you know. And then I used this little radio because I thought that kind of went along with history repeats itself. And so, like, you know, songs repeat. You get it, right? You get it. Hold on one more second. I know. It's brilliant, though, right? A brilliant motif for the page. In case you weren't, you know, you didn't get it immediately, I shall explain it to you. I did that also, I think I did that during the crop. Yes, I did. I did that during the live crop. I got a lot of them done during the live crop. Then I did this one. I don't think I did this one during the live crop. This is a 2-pager, and it's long and involved. So I took a bunch of pictures when I went cross-country skiing by myself because nobody would go with me. I won't mention any names. You know who you are. But so I went out into the woods and had a lone ski, and it was so beautiful. And so I kept taking pictures of the scenery, but then I was like, oh, I want to remember this. So then I kept taking like a million selfies of myself, and it wasn't because I thought I looked great. Like, in fact, I can just see like tons of wrinkles on my face. Like, I think I wasn't wearing any makeup, and I don't think I look especially good. But it was so pretty, and I wanted to remember the time. And I'm going to read you my little essay. So I wrote on the, so again, with the place, right? How I feel connected to places and my ancestors. So my dad died when I was like about 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, because he died right before my daughter was born. So, I didn't get to go to the funeral, and so I didn't get a lot of closure. So when I'm in places like this, like, we weren't in Maine, but, you know, New Hampshire's pretty close, and actually some of our ancestors were in New Hampshire, but I really feel like a strong connection to him. So that was the story of the page. So the story wasn't really about the skiing, it was more about my dad. And so that's where I kind of got the title that doesn't seem obvious. It says, Take Me to Church. And so I also use that because that's a popular song right now that I like, and that, you know, we were listening to on this vacation. And a lot of times, like, songs can bring you back to those, you know, like, you hear a song and then you remember where you were where you heard it. But so I printed up this whole, like, I wrote the whole thing out, and then I put most of it onto the page, but there's some parts of it that didn't make it onto the page, so I'm kind of verbose. I'm not great at editing myself, and so some of the things, like some of the story, I put onto the page, but not the whole thing. So, because I thought it would be prettier that way, you know, and so, yeah, so this says, like, and to capture the beauty of the woods at sunset. And, oops, I gotta get that, make sure that sticks on. But in case somebody doesn't want to read all this, like, jumbly here and there and everywhere journaling, I'm going to just put this entire, I should just do that now so it doesn't get lost. But I'll put the entire essay onto the back of the layout. So I'm just looking for a little washi tape here. And I often do this, so I think that if people are interested in the future, they'll know to look at the backs of my layouts, because oftentimes, and I've always joked that I'm going to put money on some of the backs of them, so that way they'll have to look. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a bad idea. But, okay, so I'm going to read you the back. Or I'm going to read this, and you can look at this. Okay, I lived with my dad in Bangor from about 1982 to 1988. We didn't go to church, but he often talked about how it would be fun to go to a different church every Sunday. But I don't think we actually ever went to one. So we talked about this whole, like, big thing where we would do a different church every weekend for a year, but then we never went to church at all, so there you go. He did spend a lot of time in the woods on the land that he was purchasing on the outskirts of Bangor, and he has always been most comfortable out in the woods, most himself. He told me that he feels closest to God when he is out in nature, that the wild was his church. So that was kind of like, you know, take me to church. Like, this felt like, and it even, like, kind of looks like it was very glorious, and, you know, it really was. It was just beautiful. Okay, that he felt like the wild was his church. Now I'm an adult with kids, and while we pray before meals and at bedtime, we don't have a habit of going to church. We make it maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and it is usually associated with the kids' school rather than our family having a particular church. Charlie, my husband, feels like, Charlie feels like spending Sunday in church eats up too much time of his weekend. I like the idea of going to church as a habit, but being the only cheerleader for it and trying to get the kids up and dressed and ready on time, well, over the years I've tried, but have sort of given up on Sunday school. Although I do think it is a good thing, and it was something I did, and I like the routine and the tradition of attending church. So I am a little like, but we're getting them confirmed and baptized and all that good stuff, so get all our bases covered, you know. But yeah, we don't, so yeah, we haven't made it a habit, unfortunately. I do feel close to God, and now I know what my dad was talking about. I feel closest to God and closest to my dad when I am in nature. These pictures show me in the New Hampshire woods, and I am cross-country skiing, something my dad used to do. So that was the other reason that it felt like pretty connected, because I loved to downhill ski, but he was always a cross-country skier, so I used to do that with him some of the time. So if I was, you know, I'm cross-country skiing, so that's, see my little skis? So that just kind of made me remember, you know. Okay. So I am cross-country skiing, something my dad used to do. And I have to say that I know my dad was with me on that cross-country ski run alone in the woods. It was quiet and solitary and peaceful and beautiful. I kept taking selfies because I wanted to capture the feeling I had, that feeling of my dad being with me, and to capture the beauty of the woods at sunset. It was like going to church with my dad, which is particularly sacred to me since I wasn't able to attend my dad's funeral because I was 8 months pregnant and couldn't fly. And because while I think my dad was cremated, I don't know what was done with his ashes. No one ever told me. Like, I didn't get to go to his funeral, and I also have no idea what happened. I still don't. I know, I'm pretty sure he was cremated, but I also don't know that for sure, but I think he was. He always said he wanted to be. He didn't want to waste the land. That's what he always told me. And you know, he thought cemeteries were like a huge waste of land. Okay. So I don't know what it was done with his ashes. No one ever told me. And I could say that I'm a bit sad about that, but I don't feel like the soul sticks around in the body or the ashes. Rather, I think the soul is free to roam around and make visits on cold, quiet days like this. So that's the whole story. And I do, like, I was on the paper clipping roundtable, and I guess, yeah, I know what it was now. We were talking about, I don't think we were, what were we talking about? I don't know. We were talking about something. Something good, but I don't remember the topic. But my pick of the week that week was Amy Poehler's book, Yes Please. And I said what I really want to do, like in 2015, as far as my scrapbooking is, I want to write more essays. And so I want to write more stories like this, where, you know, I'm connecting a bunch of stuff, but, and I want that to just be like this. Like, I want it to just be on a piece of regular paper. And I could even see a whole album of things like this. So what I should do is not only print it out for the back of my layout, but then probably just print it out for a whole separate notebook that's just like an 8.5 by 11 notebook, where I could put these in and then just add like a little bit of washi tape and maybe a picture at the bottom. Something really simple. Something where, like, if I'm got Alzheimer's someday, someone could easily read to me. Whereas this is like, you know, oh, so decorated and pretty, but I mean, my father-in-law has Alzheimer's, and it's like, to get all these scrapbooks out, I do, like, I'll give him a scrapbook and then occasionally I change it out, but honestly, it really doesn't matter if I change it out or not. But it's not the same experience looking at a scrapbook with him as it is just reading, like reading. And he actually wrote his own autobiography, so I can read to him from his own autobiography, and he's like, how do you know this? So my grandma had Alzheimer's, and I hope I never get it. But if I do, I want I want somebody sitting there reading to me from my own book. You know, I want to know. And I also want to have, you know, I had this goal from a very early age of, as soon as I learned what an autobiography was, I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to write my own story. And I had that, I know I had that desire before I was 5. Like, my parents got divorced when I was 5, so I remember it. I know where I had where I had that desire, and I know it was definitely before I was 5. So from a very early age, I wanted to write down my story. So I kind of lost that a little bit in scrapbooking. I used to do a lot more writing before scrapbooking was a hobby for me. So I want to incorporate the writing again, and this is sort of how I'm going to do it. And then, you know, now just on this page, I just would cut out like, and now I know what my dad was talking about. I feel closest to God and closest to my dad when I am in nature. These pictures show me. And so it's just giving a little bit of context, but it's not saying that whole essay. You know what I mean? You do. Okay. I know you do. I'll be right back. Now I think it's pretty funny that I told you all about process videos in the beginning. I'm going to have to redo the intro and say this is layout share day. Because I'm gonna do a process video. I'm gonna make some scrapbook pages tonight, but this is not on this video. So this will I'll just be sharing the rest of them. I don't think I've shared these before. I've made a few. I don't think yeah. Because after I did the last ones, after I photographed them, then I put them in one of the scrapbooks over there. But I haven't done these yet. So my daughter learned how to snowboard. For the first time. So we've been skiing for several years now, and this time she was like, I want to try snowboarding. So she did, and so the title is Snowboarder Life Lesson Number 1. Falling down is essential to learning. And that was one of the things I was so proud of her. She was like, I know I'm going to fall down, and I'm just going to get right back up. And I was like, you know what? That's like, remember that, because that's a good lesson for life. And then just in pencil above the photos, I just wrote Allison, first year snowboarding. Oh, what does that say? Solo. Oh yeah, and then so after she takes the lesson, this was like her first day on a snowboard without an instructor. We get up the wrong lift, and the only way to get down is a black diamond. So her very first run as a snowboarder is the Black Diamond Hill. That's way too steep for her, and she took it like a trooper. Fell down a bunch of times and kept on going. So Allison, first day of snowboarding. What does that say? Solo. At Attach Mountain, New Hampshire, Black Diamond. You rocked it. 11 years old, 2015. So, it's got the little, it's got the information about where we are and when it was. Because in the future, like, I will look back at these pictures and go, now where was that? Because it just looks like, a snowy hill. So, yeah, I really do like to date them and say how old the kid was, because otherwise you're going to do the math, and nobody wants to do math unless they're getting credit for it, right? We do a lot of math. I do a lot of math in homeschool. Okay, so this one is called, can you see it? The Florida Georgia Line, which I believe is the name of a country band. It's the band that sings like, make me want to roll my window. I always have to sing with a twang and it drives everybody crazy. I'm not a good singer, but I love to sing, and I sing loud with a twang. Here comes somebody. Hi. I'm videotaping. Okay. But you're not on there.
Is that a picture of me?
Yeah, it is. It's a picture of you. It's a pretty one.
I'm awesome.
You are awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I don't want to put you on there in your... She just had her shower. She's totally decent, but she wasn't expecting to be on the... And my dog is here. Hi, Jessie. Okay, so this is the Florida Georgia Line, which is the name of a band, but also kind of describes my husband and I, because he was born in Florida. I was born in Georgia, even though I was raised in New England. I was born in Georgia. Little known fact. That's one of the layouts that we talked about on Get It Scrapped today on that heritage seminar. And I have this other layout called Georgia on My Mind, which talks about like how you might not know that I was born in Georgia, and then my husband's father was from Georgia and born in Georgia. So we had that connection, and I was like, yeah, I made that layout that I was talking about today back in 2008, and I was like, someday I'm going to bring my kids to Georgia, because they don't have that home up there anymore. So this summer, which was the summer of 2000, and see, this is why you have to write down the dates. When was it? I didn't even write when it was. Oh, here it is. I did write where it was. I wrote it right there. Lake Burton, Georgia, 2013. So we went one summer before school started. So yeah, that's Florida. So I put the line, and so Florida I put a little bit lower. Georgia I put a little bit, up, because Florida is below Georgia. And then this is a picture of Georgia and me, mostly me, because I was born in Georgia. And then my husband and now my two kids, all born in Florida. So thus the Florida Georgia line. And so the journaling says, and then I put the dates of our birth. So with each, and I put the little gold to match Georgia, the same thicker color. And then I did the Florida to match the Florida with their dates of birth. So this says, yes, sir, little known fact, I was raised in New England, and that is where my roots are, but I was born in Georgia. So I was born in Georgia when my dad was in the military, and so they were just down there for a couple years and had me while they were there. So, and then Charlie and both Mac and Allison were born in St. Petersburg, Florida. So just like a simple little, kind of like, this is about our trip, because these are vacation photos, but I wanted to not talk about the trip. I wanted to talk about our connection to Florida and Georgia. So I think that's an interesting thing you can do in scrapbooking, especially heritage photos. No. Hold on just a sec. I have to tell you, that's like the most I've seen of her. Because lately, she's been in a room, I'm like, is anything wrong? Is everything okay? Are you upset? And she's just like, no. I just find all of you people annoying. I'm like, seriously? So, yes. Yeah. I'm so annoying. I think it's the stage. She still likes me, but I think you have to go through that stage, right? I certainly did. I might be still in it. Okay, so this one is a 2-pager, and this one I was having fun with my silhouette, and let me see. Yes, I was having, I ordered some snowflake cutouts, and I used the negative space and the positive space from the same We Are Memory Keepers cardstock, which I really love. Oh, no, it's not. This is like Heidi Swap color or something. See the resist? It's kind of cool. But I do like to use a heavy white cardstock when I'm using the silhouette, because then I can color it whatever color I want. So I added watercolor down here, and then I had this whole sheet of like a 12 by 12, and there's even a little bit of it that is missing, but it just seemed like I was gonna put something over it and then like back it with different pattern papers, but it just looked like way too busy, and then I didn't know where to put the photo, and I didn't want to cut the photos down to tiny size. I know that's a thing, but you know what? My family loves to look at the whole big pictures, and so I did cut my photos down. So they started out like 4 by 6, but so then I cut them down to, they're still 4, so they go all the way up and down the page, but then they're probably like more like 4 by 5. And so then I made just a great big grid, and then I just kind of yeah, you can see what I did. It's not rocket science, but it's just like a really easy way to get a lot of photos onto your page. And this could have allowed for a lot of embellishing and journaling and everything else. Yeah. The 2-pagers. I think Debbie Hodge is going to do a 2-page masterful scrapbook design. I think she just did like one that was on the 1-pager. I think she's going to be doing one on 2-pagers coming up soon. And so this one is just real photo heavy, and so not much journaling. It just says, let it snow on our last night in New Hampshire. And it did. And that's like, so before you saw when we were, in town, and then this is just getting back to the hotel, and it's still just, I mean, the snow, it couldn't have been, like, if I ordered it from God himself, like, it couldn't have been better. It was just like, oh, we love snow, we're going to miss it so much. And so it's just, I know the people in New England are, had enough snow, but there was so much snow. It was so pretty, and the kids got, like, one last chance to, like, make a snow angel and say goodbye to the snow and walk, not walk on the path, but like walk through the big snow bank and, just have like one last moment with the snow. Yeah, let it snow. Okay, and because I like to use, like, so frugal, the, sort of, but the let it snow, so that this is the negative space of let it snow, and then this is the positive space of that let it snow. And those probably won't end up exactly in the same album or the same part of the album. Like, this one might go into a scrapbook about Mac, and the other one might go into one about vacations. So it's okay that they look kind of the same. And so this one just says, we don't remember the days, we remember the moments. And I think this is me and my big ideas. Or it's We Are Memory Keepers, the little card there. Let it snow. And then I rarely do a page that's just a 1 photo page. But this one I had just watched, there was a Lisa Dickinson interview at Get It Scrapped. And she did this, like, and this looks very different than her layout, but she did this 4-square thing where 1 square was journaling. And so I didn't do that because I wanted to use this Project Life type card. So I put my journaling down here. But so 1 is journaling, 1 is embellishment, 1 is photo, 1 is title. Like, that's a simple way to make a page, right? You should go do that. But hers was like centered on the page, and there was much more white space. So it looked a lot better. But I'm pretty happy with this page. And I just wrote my journaling down here. It says, riding up the lift with you at Cranmore Mountain, North Conway, New Hampshire, in the winter of 2015, the snowiest winter of all time in New England. While the New Englanders cursed another snowfall, we delighted in it. Love, Mom. And so he's like, he's not wearing a hat. First of all, every person on the whole mountain was wearing a hat. He's got, like, his coat is open. He's got his tongue out. He likes to get his head, like, as cold as he possibly can. And so I did think that one, and you can see, maybe you can't see, but I did crop this down so you lost a little of the context, but I wanted it to be in a square, and I had other photos like that, so I was willing to cut it down. But you can see, like, he's on a he's on a ski lift anyways. Not that that's super important, but okay, now I don't know if I've shown you these before, but I'll show them to you if you've seen them before. Sorry, but I think you have. I think this is where now we're into repeats. So this one is about my son and his grandfather. His grandfather's 94. He's the one that has Alzheimer's, who I wrote his own autobiography and I read to him. He lives next door. And so we see him every day. And now that we're homeschooling, my son gets to spend a lot more time with him. And he just comes over and he just, like, he was, like, before he had Alzheimer's, he was a little more, like, gruff and critical of my son, which I didn't really like. But now he's, like, really sweet to him. And kind of the opposite with his wife. He used to be sweet to her, and now he's kind of gruff with her. So, go figure. But this is all about, I'll just read it to you because I do that. So, long before I had kids, I had a strong desire to make sure that when I did have kids, they got to grow up near their grandparents, like I did. Grandpa Alan and Grandma Grace literally were the saving graces of my childhood. So when we got the chance to buy the house next to Grammy Ethel and Grandfather Charlie back in 1998, we jumped on it fast. Fast forward to now. So I'm like I think if you can bring your old stories, like, you know, your old family stories, if you can bring them forward, that's how the kids are going to be interested in them. If you have any hope of getting them interested, like, involve them in the story, and then they're going to be more apt to care. Or have a connection to it. So fast forward to now, 2015, and my dream has come true for my kids. They have their grandparents right next door, and they are a part of our everyday lives. And now that Mac is homeschooling, and he and grandfather spend lots more time together doing puzzles, visiting, and figuring things out. I hope you realize how special this time is, Mac. Just the other day, grandfather came over to tell Mac that Mac, he came over and he was like, he usually comes over and asks if his dead brother is here at our house, because he used to live next to his brother, so I think he thinks his dead brother lives here. So he's like, "Have you seen TA?" I said, "No, not lately." You know, I know. But anyways, I'll let you know if I see him. And he asked about my dead dog, and our new dog looks a little bit like the old dog, so a lot of times he calls the new dog by the old dog's name. But anyways, so, yeah, he came over and he did the thing where he knocks on the back door, because we've got like a little gate and they can just walk over through the backyards. And he comes over, he goes, this day he asked for my husband, "Is Charlie there?" So it's a little unusual. And Mac was like, "No, he's at work." And he goes, "Well, I just want to tell you that you are a young man with all the qualities I've been looking for." And then he left. And Mac came back in, and we got back to homeschool, and I said to Mac, because I had overheard the whole conversation, I was like, "What did grandfather say?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "I think he just told you a compliment, like in his warped, you know, kind of way." And so, yeah, he said, "Just the other day, grandfather came over to tell Mac that he had all the good qualities he was looking for. Remember this." Like, it was really like a nice little, like, "I'm proud of this boy." It was nice. He used to be like, he always, when he was more, before he had Alzheimer's, with younger people, he would always want to be like extolling all of his wisdom. So he'd always be like, if you bought something, he'd tell you paid too much for it, or shouldn't have done that, or, you know, he would usually be trying to teach us a lesson. And so he doesn't really do that anymore. So he's a little bit like more pleasant. He was never not pleasant. I love him very much, and I like him very much. I think he's I enjoy being with him. But you know, if you don't like to get unsolicited advice, he doesn't give it anymore. So, wishes for you. And this is to both of them. And so they both have the same name. That's their, you know. So I put for Charles Max Scott, which is both of their names. Health, happiness, good memories, love, love, love. Hopefulness, adventure, inner peace, to feel and be useful, strong relationships, and wanderlust fulfillment. Because one of the things about my father-in-law is that, and I call him grandfather, even he's not my grandfather, but he's old enough to be. anyways, wanderlust fulfillment. Because the other thing that's really, he used to travel a lot after he retired, and now he wants to go. Like, he's got, like, I'm leaving in the morning, so it's been nice to see you. I'm glad you got the chance to see me before I leave. And he's going to go, you know, he's the one that was born in Georgia. He's going to go up to Georgia, or he thinks that he's actually in Georgia, and then he's going to be driving to St. Pete tomorrow, and that's where we live. So I just go, okay. This is just a little birthday page for my son. I think I really did go over these in another one, so I won't go. I'll just show them to you real quick, but I gotta pause for a sec. Okay, if I think I'm gonna do something quick, sometimes I get a little carried away. A lot of times. I did show you these in another one, though. There's that one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I can remember talking about these. There's this one. There's the dog. Sweet little dog. And, yeah. I'll just show them to you anyways real quick. If you want to know about what these are all about, then look at the other video. It's probably called Calvinball Album Share or Layout Share or something like that. This, and then I have one of the albums has a bunch of layouts that I've made. And so I'm at, wait for it. Hold on. I'm just going to put these back on this little thing. They're not really, so when they get like too much for that, that's time to put them in the albums, to get them photographed and put them in the album. So I need to photograph them during daylight. I'll do that tomorrow and get them up in the gallery so you can see the layouts over at the Get It Scrapped gallery, and maybe on my blog if I won't do it, but theoretically they could be there too. My blog is called Kiss and Tell Scrapbooking, and what was I going to tell you? Oh, no, I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. I've done 42 layouts. I have like 103 points, but here's the kicker. So there's like, you get points for each page that you do, but then you also get points, like bonus points for all these other things. Like if you have 3 photos on a layout. So if you have 3 photos on a layout, that's one of the rules. Then you get an extra point. But I thought you just got that point once. No. So I would get an extra point on this one. And so the way I've been counting it is like, oh, well, I did this page. That's a point. I did this page, that's a point. I did the 3 on one page, that's a point. There's 3 or more on this page. I wasn't counting that point. I'm going to. And guess what? Like almost every single one of my pages has more than 3. So watch out with my scrappy bonus points, my Calvinball comrades, and because I haven't recalculated, but once I do that, my points are going way up. And also, I'm all hopped up, and I'm so my sister would say, I'm all hopped up. I'm not hopped up on anything, except I just had a really good day. And we had a good homeschooling day today, so that was good. After last week was pretty rough, but today was good. So yeah, I'm done, and I'm gonna start scrapbooking. So when I posted in the gallery, it was an hour ago, and I was like, and I'm starting now. Well, I'm starting now. So it's 9 o'clock Monday night, and I am gonna start now. I'm gonna stop talking and start making some layouts. Hopefully I'll do a process video, but probably not the first couple because I'll be uploading this. So okay, bye bye scrapbookers. That's all. I don't even think I'm gonna make an intro video. I'm tired of talking. Can you imagine that? No. I can't either. Okay, bye.